All right, hello. My name is Daniel Gies. I'm the creative and technical director here at ED Films. Just down in the bottom corner here. This is our very first Twitch, or not Twitch. This is our very first YouTube stream that we're trying. I was just curious about it. Never really tried a YouTube one before, so I thought we'd give it a shot. We've been doing it on Twitch for a little while now, yeah, so it's a little sloppy at the moment, but we'll get this figured out. I think so last night on the Twitch stream we did a hand that we put together and figured it out one step at a time, um, and in After Effects. And once we got it going, it actually worked pretty well. So I figured I have to do the other hand anyway. So I was going to just record the screen and bop a tutorial together out of it. But I thought maybe we'll do it here and I'll record the screen as well. And that way we can kind of do both. So you can maybe get a tutorial out of this. And then I'll cut it down and make it a little more simple. But essentially what I was going to do is put this hand together. And this is a really basic hand. It's obviously a big trick, but I'm using a drawing. You don't have to use a drawing. This is a drawing I did in Rebel, which is kind of a watercolor ink and acrylic simulation program. You don't have to, this could be just flat shapes. The way we're going to do this, you could use anything you want just to create the structure. You could just use like colored layers or something, or even just shape layers or anything like that. So it's more the concept and then how we put it together. So I'll just show you really quick what we're going to be doing, since I've already done one of them. Makes it a lot easier. Usually we're just stumbling through this and working through it one step at a time. Essentially with this script, what we've done is we've set up a hand that's kind of like Freddy Krueger's hand. It's just, there's only 3 fingers. I haven't done the thumb on this one yet, but there's only 3 fingers. And essentially what we've done is we've spaced it out in 3D and kind of segmented it apart so that we could rotate it and have the layers swap over top of each other based on how far the hand was rotated. So it essentially allows us to flip the hand. I know it's kind of hard to see, but it does allow us to flip the hand in 3D space without having to have a whole bunch of active layers and turning them on and off and everything like that. So we just incorporated a bit of the Z depth in there so that we could actually control and manage it. So it's kind of interesting. Oh, hey, Ukraine. Holy smokes, there's a lot of people here. We've never had this many people on a stream before. Hey, I guess I'll say hey to everyone. I don't know how to, thanks for hanging out, guys. Do we upload this live? Okay, so I'm just going to read these. Quick question while you start. How long does it take you to create a full 3 to 4 minute featured film in 2D? It can take a long time. So before we get rolling, I'll just answer some of the questions you guys are asking. Usually, if I work all by myself, which I have done on some projects, like the pipeline video, for instance, I did. By the time you're finished, as long as the script is done and the storyboard's all in place, it can take 3 months of just pure work. Usually when we're doing it, the longest thing, I think it takes the longest is all of the story and the storyboards and all that stuff. That's where we take the longest. Sometimes we've taken as long as 6 months just to get something so that we can start animating. So that's often the longest. The nano animation I did years and years ago, that was 2 months, 2.5 months to put it all together. And also, I'd like to let you guys know, I'm really terrible at answering email and things like that on YouTube. I'm awful at it. So this is one of the other things I wanted to do is by coming on YouTube and doing live, you guys can hit me up with questions and I'll be more than happy to answer them in real time here for you. So maybe this doesn't become the platform where we learn a whole bunch of stuff specifically, but if there's a lot of questions, we can just, we can dig through it here. So, but what else did I want to say? A lot of the time on the pipeline animations and all those ones, there's a lot of learning and experimentation in that. So I'm not using everything I already know. Usually I'm trying to do something I haven't done before. So that slows things down a lot. And again, I'm typically one person. Sometimes a contractor comes in and helps. Now that we're a little bit of a bigger studio, I have somebody that works with me more full time, but we've split our efforts. We work on separate projects together and I'll do some concept art or development work. We kind of swap them off back and forth, but now we just have 2 projects going on at once. So it's still about the same thing. We did this project called Let There Be Light, and it was a lot of work, a lot of paintings, a lot of backgrounds, and that also took few months, so 3 to 4 months. So on the old films, yeah, we wrote the scripts ourselves. We don't have any in-house writers right now. We would write the scripts, but we would work directly with the company that we were doing the animations for. Even we just did one called Brown Bear. I don't even know. I don't know if the Brown Bear one's on YouTube yet. Maybe it is. I don't know if we put it up here yet. But that one we wrote with them. So that's why the scripts are never really that good. We kind of write them. We don't really hire big writers, you know, so I'll do a first treatment. And then Emily, my partner in the studio, comes from more of a writing background. She'll go through and rework it. And then we'll go back and forth with the client and just sort of polish it up and clean it up. So, we usually start something, at least get the basic idea. If we let the client write the script, sometimes it becomes a little bit dogmatic. So, you know, maybe sometimes too pointed or too directed to their own agendas or priorities. So we typically have to pull all that stuff out and try to make it lighter and easier to digest, which we still, I would say, have not done 100% successfully on any of the projects yet. They all, especially the science ones, they tend to become a little bit too wordy. A little bit too much information, but we're working on it. We get a little better every time. So I'm just trying to see if I missed any questions. Okay, so how do we do our storyboards or animatics? Well, usually I'm going to see if I don't know if I'm talking all this time and not showing you guys anything. Let me see if I can pull something up because I just finished putting the server up. We just moved studios, so I used to just work out of my basement. Now we have a little studio space in Montreal here, and I've just finished all the backups. So I'm just going to let's find one that is familiar. Some of these are old. I've got some really old projects in here. Let's see where it is. So it's these ones. I'm going to see if I can find the storyboards. Oh yeah, so I have an animatic. So these animatics, these are old. And these are so old. Let me just get the date modified up at the top. I'll pull this up and bring it down. For some reason, it is showing in a completely separate screen. I don't know if you guys can, I don't think you can hear my computer, but essentially, these panels were done in Photoshop. I'm now using TV Paint. I use TV Paint a lot now. There is always a huge clash between. I'm not going to try to say everybody's names because I'm going to just spend all this time trying to pronounce your names. But there is always a big clash between the content and the creativity side of things. It's really, really difficult. Especially a lot of these films were funded, and it's not for profit. So they're not supposed to have like some kind of biased message. So, but the person funding it, they typically want a bit of a bias in there. Mostly, what we're supposed to be doing is just communicating a concept. Like the idea of what a pipeline does, not that they're good or they're bad or anything. So we really try to avoid saying whether something's good or bad. These animatics here, these are more like little slideshows because the client was really not familiar with animation, and they're really dark. I was just having fun with paper texture on these, but these are mostly for me, so they're not super detailed, and they're not really specific. So typically and I just went to go visit Micros Studio, and they're working on this dog animation. Their storyboards and animatics are like every single beat are really drawn out, and every time the dog steps or does something, is almost everything is there. In these, they're a lot more general because I typically investigate them further as I'm making them, and it's only me, right? So for these ones, I didn't have to communicate more complicated things. However, we do have another film we've been working on, which I'll pop over here. Let me just grab it. There is, where are we? It's in Archives A. There's so many archives. There's so much old projects here. This one's called Giant Bear. I know that some people have, I know that some people probably have already seen some of this stuff, but I've done a more recent animatic. Hopefully it's in here. So this animatic, this was again done in Photoshop. Lots of just fast drawings. I would say I've been starting to do them in TV Paint, and I really love working in TV Paint. It's really fun. But I know TV Paint's a bit expensive for everybody. The clothing. Yeah, hey, okay, so the clothing question. The clothing stuff I used to do with a lot of if statements, like if if this happens, then do this. If this, like if the leg rotates this much, then start moving. But I just recently figured out this new process, which I'll show you in one sec. So I'll just quickly answer this animatic thing. This one has a lot more beats drawn out because I'm actually getting the guy we're working with. He's actually helping me. He's doing a lot of the animation for this project, and I'm just doing like a lot of the initial concepts and designs and the puppets and stuff and their characters. So he's doing a lot of the animation. So in this one, I think I have this animatic. I don't know if I have this animatic on YouTube, but this is an animatic I put together all in. It's a bit of mix of Photoshop mixed with After Effects, just using a few little tricks just to really get the feeling down. Because we were having a lot of trouble communicating with the director and everybody the feeling and the tempo of the film. So I just decided to just build it as the best I could. So some scenes are really sparse, but this whole action section is pretty fleshed out. And again, this is a mix of Photoshop layers. I threw snow in on top, which I rendered from After Effects, and I built it together in Premiere. And just to give a sense of the movement of the environment, because when you don't have this stuff, sometimes the animatic can feel super slow, and a client might be like, wow, this shot's way too long. When as an animator, like this shot's not going to feel so long once everything's in there. So this whole thing, it was really important. Like every beat, the blinks are mapped out, the head movements, like you pretty much have everything in this. It's almost like a moving comic book. I think like one of the biggest, I'm just going to see the most, this area is pretty fleshed out. It's when the bear comes completely out of the hole. And then I've got this one scene where I animated a lot of frames. And these shots I actually did I think I did them in TV Paint to get the character doing his basic moves where he jumps off here. This is kind of supposed to be a bit of a slow motion shot. And then I just put this together in After Effects. So the other point of doing this is I'll put these scenes together in After Effects with all these rough art assets with the cameras all set up. But the nice thing with this is I can hand this whole thing off, and someone else can open the After Effects project and start replacing the artwork and use the camera moves and the timing and everything. So I put more work in front here, and it left the whole project open for someone. Like the director basically signed off on this and said, this is great. If you make this movie, fantastic. So then I can hand this off and say, I've already done most of the camera moves. I've done an essential pass on the layers and the depth and how we want things to feel. And now they can just start replacing it with high quality art assets. So also thank you for the appreciation, guys. I really, it means a lot to me. Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to tell you this cloth thing. So this hand is actually part of this character here, which I am working on a tutorial for. I'll just let him render out really quick. I'll show you who was asking about cloth. Country Boy. So look, I did just put a tutorial up on here that talks about. Sorry, I'm just popping in. There are so many questions, people. I will do a regular Q&A. I think for sure we'll do one every week. This is a new format we're playing with. So what's happened at the studio? We've started a Patreon fund, which is like we're pretty low on Patrons right now, but it's at least starting to make it so I can allocate a very specific amount of my schedule for developing tutorials and content like this and content for tutorials. So that's starting to happen. And also we're really getting into the flow of Twitch and scheduling. So Twitch was the start of where we did the live stream. And now what's going to happen is we have a regular schedule there. I'm thinking we will augment and add to it with a YouTube regular schedule, since there's more people on YouTube and you don't have to sign up for a new Twitch account and things like that. So, which is pretty cool. So I am more than happy to answer questions, because people have so many questions over the years and I've never answered them and I barely replied to anything, and I apologize for that. But I'm doing so much stuff. I don't make the time for it. I should be better at it. It's definitely a responsibility as a maker that if you're going to put stuff out there, you should be able to answer to it. And I never did. So, cool. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, Country Boy. Well, I'm glad you've been watching since 2013. And I'd like to again apologize for not being more responsive to people. Hopefully this can solve a bit of that problem. So let me talk about this cloth stuff. I keep avoiding Country Boy's question about the cloth. There's a couple of ways to do the cloth. And this I've just figured out on this rig. Previously, like I said, I used to use if statements that would basically say here is that if this leg's rotation, like this leg bone here, I used to watch the hip bone essentially. this one, like let's say we would watch this, and I would say like if the rotation went past a certain degree, start moving the leg, and it would be very complicated. And it takes a lot to set up. So what I've been using instead, which I also have a video I'm building together, so it's a little bit, it feels a bit complicated. I'm going to show you the basics of how it works. We went through building it on Twitch. So anyone who saw it on Twitch, you might find this nauseatingly boring to go through. But for, let's say for things like the leg, like this stuff works for dresses. So I'm going to just try to step through this a little bit frame by frame. Actually, let's go to a spot where there's no animation happening and I can show you how this works. Except we have these hilariously twisted hands. Most of this animation here is really just to test the rig. Put this back to 0 and that back to 0. There's a lot of things happening. This is probably one of the most complicated rigs I've ever built, other than when I was trying to do Rocket Randy, which got completely insanely complicated because we were trying to do so many angles. We were trying to do so many angles of the character. It just slaughtered me. It's possible, but I started hitting this wall where it's almost like, why don't you just make it 3D at that point? But anyways, but it does lose its charm. I've been doing 3D for a while now, for several years now, and I still find I can't achieve the same level of charm. Okay, so with the cloth, so if you just watch this leg, I can't play it back in real time with the stream running because it takes up a bit of video memory, and for some reason it gets in the way. So as you see this, as soon as this leg hits a certain point, it starts moving this little thing here, this leg bell thing. Maybe I'll see if I can isolate it so it's easier to see. Where is it? There's just so many pieces on this guy. It's insane. Okay, so it's this one and this one. No, not this one. And there's the leg and the knee. So, and there's one more leg bell here. Okay. So if you watch this, and I want to pull up the control here. Okay, so if you watch, come on. There it is. So if you watch this leg, what happens as soon as it hits a certain point, it starts moving the actual clothy piece. And then if it comes far enough back, it starts moving again. I've got to fix a little bit of the lineup because you can see the leg coming through it. But this is essentially something I've been trying to figure out for years. And I finally learned how to use... let's see if, oh yeah, fast draft works better. So you can see that the leg only moves at certain times. This was hard to set up. It was hard to figure out. I used to use a million if statements, but it was really buggy. So I'll just show you what's actually going on here. And I won't go crazy into it because I'm making a tutorial on it right now. So you guys will hopefully have access to that fairly soon. Yeah, sorry, Rocket Randy was hell in the end. And James McGrath, topic, just learned of an artist who's working on American Masters. Just did a Tyrus Wong I've never heard of. I should I'm gonna copy that name and remember it for later. Thank you for sharing that. I'm always interested in learning about new artists. I'm just gonna paste that in there. Cool. Okay, so yeah, I would love to see your film. Yeah, guys, send me stuff to check out. And if you guys also, one of the things we've been doing on Twitch is if people send things to check out, we just watch them on the stream and everyone can see them. But if you're too shy to actually have everyone else watch them, you can just send them to me privately. But I should warn you, you have to hound me because I'm not super good at answering messages. I'll get stuff and then the day gets crazy, but I will check out people's films and respond to them. The best time to hit me up is on a stream for sure, because it's a little bit, I'm accountable. I'm in this space right now and my time is carved out. Otherwise I get out of here and it's just a million things I have to take care of. So not to make excuses, it's just the best way to communicate with me. Otherwise it's really hard for me to go back through emails and make things happen. But please send me your links and stuff like that in your videos, and we can watch them here or I'll check them out after for sure. And I'm glad, I can't wait to see you. Wait to see what you made. Okay, so I'm going to try to just get through this. I know there's lots of questions and comments. You guys just feel free to ask me. I'll try to answer as much as I can. I'm sure this will taper off after, this is the first time we've ever done it. I'm sure eventually you guys will get tired of hearing me talk about this stuff, and then there will be fewer questions. Okay, so let's just talk about really quickly what this is doing. This is using what's called an interpolation expression. where is it? So here we have the leg bell thing here. So what I have going on here is going to seem really complicated. It's not. It's not as complicated as it looks. It looks awful, but it's really not. I had to, essentially it boils down to just one of these. This set of controls is, let's just go into the expression. We'll talk about what it is really quickly. Basically what I have is I have this little rotation driver. And this rotation driver, I said this is simple, but it looks really complicated. The expression is actually really basic. These variables make it look really complicated, but this is the actual expression that's doing everything right here. No, that's offset. Sorry, that's the wrong one. It's right here. This is the thing right here. I know this seems a little crazy. This one's using a linear interpolation. And a linear interpolation essentially says that it will reinterpret inputs. So what I have, I guess I wish I could bring up, let me just see if I can bring up the actual help file on it, and maybe it'll help you guys it'll help make sense for you. If you care about this stuff. You guys don't really care about this. I am doing a tutorial on it, so if you're happy to wait, another week for this cloth one to come out, then fine. I also have, so it's a linear interpolation. Keyframe, no. It's interpolation methods. There we are. Okay, that's in here somewhere. Let's go down here. I'm still struggling to learn and completely understand these things. So basically, this is it right here. This is the code. So what's essentially it's doing is it's watching. There's a variable that you're trying to watch. In this one, it's called time. And this is your input. This is where all the information is coming from. So in ours, we're using the rotation of this thing. And what that's doing is we're watching that thing and we're seeing what it's doing. So leader rotation. And then what we have is we have front angle minimum, front angle maximum. So that's revealed over here in the comp here, in the top composition. And basically these are numbers that say, what are the minimum and maximum angles that we want to be watching for the leg to rotate? So we're kind of sitting here and saying, let's watch this the hip rotation here, which is, where's the hip bone? There's a hip bone, and basically what I did is I would watch the hip bone. I know this might seem really complicated. I am distilling it down to an easier thing. So I just basically watched this hip, and as I moved it, I would kind of just keep an eye on where it ended up, at what point I wanted things to start moving. And I would see like, oh, it's at about 10 degrees, it hits the side of this thing, right? So in the linear interpolation, I'm able to say, watch for this rotation here, and this is the front angle minimum. And at 10 degrees, start moving it. And then at 125 degrees, stop moving it. So these are minimum and maximum inputs. They could be rotations or position or anything. So, and then at the end, you have an output minimum and an output maximum. And that is saying, it's basically saying, interpolate these numbers, this minimum and maximum, into these new numbers. So take the angle from 10 to 125 and put it into 0 to 140. I don't know if that makes any sense, but this is really all that's happening. It's super basic. I would encourage you, if you haven't looked at it before, to read it a little bit, try to understand it. It is a bit of a stretch in the brain, but I'll just do this really quick, see if I have something here. So if you do like linear, it's funny when I'm streaming, my drawing, everything's slower. So here you have like your input, whatever your input is, like whatever you want to watch, and that's like your input data. So some numbers are coming from here. And then you have a minimum that you're watching for, and then you have a maximum, and this is coming from the input, right? And then what you have is a minimum output. So this is what you're sending out, minimum out, and then max out. So this is what you're saying was like, this is the data you send out. So you're taking this number, whatever it is, and this number, and saying, change it to this one and this one. And this is the maximum it can come out as. And when you do a linear, it means it will start and stop really hard, but you can also do an ease, like an ease, or an ease in or an ease out. So the ease will do a soft in and out, or an ease in will you'll have to watch it. I mean, I'm sorry, I could spend forever explaining this. Okay, cool. I hope that helps. I hope that helps you a little bit. But it seems a little crazy. The reason you have to have two of them is you have to have one for the front leg, for the leg moving front, and then one for the leg moving back, because they're different angles, right? You're starting and stopping a movement in two separate operations. So that's why I put an if statement in there. So this code here is essentially saying, it's in here, it's essentially saying that if the leg rotation is what is it, greater than 0, do this function. So start moving and stop it moving at these numbers. If it's less than 0, start and stop it at these numbers, and kind of make that soft. So it makes things a lot nicer to work with, and they look better. You can also link things to rotation with the rotomorph tool and do it. I haven't used the rotomorph tool, and I actually should probably do that. I thought, like, largely, I hadn't used it mostly because I thought it was for doing masks and stuff like that, but it's for a million other things. The only thing I'm curious about, I've never actually used it before. Can you give it limitations of when it starts and when it stops? Because I've never, ever used it. If you guys know, I'm definitely curious to find out, because I've never used it before at all, because I thought it was for kind of creating different shape layers based on the legs walking or something like that. I do have a test folder. I guess I could look at it in. Let's just go. Well, I have so many solids. I have this one. You just duplicate this. I'm not even sure how this thing works. So let's just go. I've never used it before. Rotomorph. How does it work? Okay, so I just want to look at what it attached here. Oh, position. Oh, there you go. This is the same thing. Angle minimum, angle max. This is the same exact thing. I think I added so many of them. And here's your reference layer. That's the exact same thing. Actually, now that you bring that up, you could do it the exact same way with this. You don't have to code it all by yourself. So let's say, let's just rename this properly. Box 2. Thank you for pointing this out. I didn't even know this existed. So we'll take the source and we'll make it box 2, and we can change the minimum and maximum angle. That would do the exact same thing. So I'm rotating box number 2, or no, this is, oh, I should actually, sorry, my code's on this one. Yeah. And I want this reference layer to be box 2. Oh, and we need an output angle and an input angle. Am I doing something wrong? I think I am. Position rotation morph. This one doesn't seem to be doing anything. What have I done wrong? Oh, that's what I did. Something wrong with the position. Okay. Sorry, guys. I don't even quite know what I'm doing. Sorry, guys. Just hang on. I've never used this before. Just hang on. So I'm only going to be streaming for a little bit here, and then I actually have to stop. So this was my first test stream. But this does feel like this is something that would work. I'm just not quite sure what it's doing. There's a position rotation morpher. The reference layer is here. We have a minimum and maximal angle. Oh, is that possibly for... And what is it watching for on this layer here? So this is this one. This is the one with the code on it. I'm not quite sure what it's watching for here. If I rotate this guy, nothing really happens to that bottom layer. But it's got a position thing on it. Let me just see if I'll do a... Let me just turn this off here and delete this. And we'll put it on its rotation. Because maybe it's probably maybe it's the wrong thing. I don't know. So let's put it on this property. We'll do a rotation morph. Okay. And we'll make the source up here. Still not doing anything. Super weird. I don't really know. I don't know how to use it yet. So instead of wasting your guys' time while I try to unfold this and figure it out, is it possible that it's parented? Is there a reason it's parented? Or do they have to be parented? I have to learn how to use this thing. Yeah, anyways, great. This is great, though. It probably does exactly what I was doing there without so much crazy coding. Tom is asking if I have a time of day in mind for those future streams. Not at the moment. I'm open to suggestions, but I'm thinking during the day. Right now, I do a stream. Okay, it does. I'm sure it works. Like, I'm sorry I'm not getting it to work because I'm kind of scattered trying to answer questions and I'm a little bit frantic. I don't want to waste too much time on you guys since this is our first stream here. So I will check it out, and I'm sure it works. Everything's there. Like, nothing in Duick that they make doesn't work. As far as regular days for the stream, we do a stream right now on Thursdays on Twitch, an afternoon stream from 2 until 4. So around this time. I might turn that into a YouTube day because otherwise I'll have to be twitching 4 or 5 days a week. So I might turn that into a YouTube day and do like 2 YouTube days and 2 Twitch days. So we're just going to sort it out. I'll let you know as soon as I have one, but I will try to create a regular day for this for sure. Brittany Beggs is thanks for tutorials. Well, I'm really happy to hear that. If you guys, any of you guys have stuff you want to show us that you've done, like please like show us for sure. I'd love to see it. Thank you, and thank you for the appreciation. I really appreciate it. You guys are really awesome, and thanks for tolerating and subscribing and putting up with the slow output of content. It's been since we moved into a bigger studio, and actually since I had a kid, it made it really hard to get tutorial content out there. But I've been doing a lot of learning over the last couple of years with 3D and rigging and all kinds of stuff that actually applies back to After Effects. And, I also we need to expand our skills here. So I've been working on a lot of different platforms and programs too. So there's gonna be a lot of stuff to share and I mean, I'm excited to learn from you guys. I've been learning a lot from the Twitch stream. People are helping me with all kinds of things. I don't know about most stuff. And people are showing me stuff that I never even dreamed of and helping me figure stuff out. So it's really fun. Oh, thank you for the comment on the stream. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Is this a video that you did? I'm just pulling the link right now. It's saying I have a 404 error. I don't know if it allowed you to paste the whole thing in there. Maybe if you can try again. I'm trying to see if I can get more of it. Oh no. Okay. Maybe try pasting it again. If that doesn't work, maybe send it in a comment or something. Looks like it cut off for some reason. It's just saying it can't find. It's giving me a 404 error. Let me just see. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Probably has to have like a www or something. Bear with me. I'm just going to fix your. Maybe it's this. I don't know. I'm sorry, it's not popping up yet. Maybe it's like, it might be banning the link. Oh, it doesn't let links in. Okay, well then make sure, can you just send me the link. I'm not sure, I was in a comment or something. I don't know how we're going to do this if it bans the links. That's kind of annoying. Maybe you'll have to send it as a message or something. I don't know how that works. Someone's asked me which cartoon is my favorite. That is a good question. Actually, the most recent cartoon I've really have been watching is I watched, what is it called? It's Titan, the Attack on Titan I've been watching, which was pretty sweet. But as far as television cartoon, I know that Steven Universe is really popular. I haven't really watched that much yet, and Over the Garden Wall looked really awesome. But I haven't watched a whole lot of cartoons. I can fix this in my settings. All right, I will double check in my settings. I did make it so that people could swear and stuff and that no one would be banned. I'm just trying to see, just in case anyone wants to berate me for something. Automatically block. Maybe I'll just not block spam. I doubt our page would be popular enough to get spam. Okay, I turned off the spam fix. I turned off the spam thing, so maybe try that link again. I'm going to try to get to this hand, but I also will try to continue to answer your questions. So just bear with me for 1 second here. Okay, just trying to do this here. All right, great. So let's just get into this hand really quick. I just want to start setting it up. We probably won't get anything done, but we'll give it a shot, and then we'll set up. I will post for a regular day for streaming for YouTube to start. We'll do 1 day, and then hopefully we can just start adding more. Okay, so we have our hand. Essentially, I'm going to go through it step by step, if anyone's curious about it. And we're going to grab the right hand here. As you can see, there's a lot going on. Here's the hand. So, so we started out as just a basic hand. What I started out with was not enough pieces. Initially, I had done this little piece here for the top of the hand. I'd done sort of a front bone thing, and I did a couple of pieces for thumb. So ultimately what I found out in the last round when I built this, the real hand, is that I needed more pieces. So I'll just duplicate a piece and add it. Oh, you want me to explain what I'm creating? So what we are going to do for anyone that I guess wasn't here, we are creating a hand. We're putting together a hand that we can flip and move. So if you just watch this here, it's really a basic cheat to make a hand that you can flip around and animate. And the idea was try to get away from sliding layers on top of each other and turning on and off layers for layers to be in front or behind. So I was trying to make something that would create a convincing hand movement, but wouldn't but I wouldn't have to do a whole bunch of extra work just to allow the hand to flip or rotate it. And I didn't want to have a whole bunch of extra pieces. So I started playing with that. And this hand also, we can rotate it. Right now it's rotating just on the y-axis, but the hand can also rotate on the x. Because it is a semi-3D hand. And I haven't really rigged the hand up in a really good way yet. I've just kind of cheated it. So let's put these in here, and you can sort of see the general versatility of the hand. Evelyn Vincent, do I work for? Yeah, I run my own company. So I work for a company called ED Films, which is our company. It was founded by myself, Emily Page, and Archita Ghosh, and we all run the company internally. And part of the company's mandate is exactly this stuff here, is tutorials, is experimenting with different animation techniques. Right now we're working on a whole bunch of stuff for game engine animation techniques in Unity and Unreal, and puppeteering animation, not like film animation. And we focus on very, very specific workflows. Yeah, so joysticks and sliders, I just downloaded it. So I've got it right here. I haven't used it yet. I have not even opened it yet, and I know it's really good for doing all this stuff. So what I was going to do is, basically I was just setting up the hand and doing an animation test with this old hand. But then what I was going to do next is, before I rig up all the animation, I was going to use joysticks and sliders. Because I know it's like a pose, from what I understand, it's sort of a pose-based keyframe animation tool. So you can hard code keyframes into poses that you can then control with sliders and stuff like that. So you guys should check it out. Anyone who's on the stream should check it out. It's an amazing tool. But so I was going to use it for the actual animation and posing of the hands. because it's a pretty phenomenal tool. But the one thing it doesn't help us do is set up the actual hand. So that's sort of the first goal here. And I just want to show you guys really quick how it's done. So the first step is to parent everything, and also let's get the layers the right way. One of the things we've been doing in our Twitch stream as well is we've been testing code from one of our viewers on the Twitch stream. Colin Harvey has been giving us access to a whole bunch of really cool After Effects tools he's been making, and we're working with him on a couple of our own After Effects tools. So part of what our company is doing is we're really working hard to make some really cool tools and plugins that we can start making accessible to people, and that just help the process along. We're working on one that's like a layer sort of compositing tool for After Effects, but Colin Harvey's got some amazing ones, which I will demonstrate as we work more and more on things here. So I'm just going to straighten these out for now. It's not really important that I re-anchor point these because we're not actually animating with just the things. These are going to have puppet pins and stuff on them. They're all nested compositions in the long run, but okay, sorry, I haven't looked at the stream for a minute. That's amazing. I'd love to see what you're doing. Tom, do you ever stream? I would love to see that. Melvin, I'm actually, yes, I'm using a Cintiq Studio Pro, which has been really good. I have it plugged into my computer to act as a tablet essentially. But now we have a new guy working with us, so I gave him my tablet. So I'm using my portable tablet for everything now, which is really great. But you don't, honestly, all you need is a tablet. A Cintiq tablet is, not a Cintiq, a tablet's fine. And there's actually a whole bunch of really cool new options for Cintiq type devices that aren't nearly as expensive as the Wacom or Wacom stuff. If you actually just Google Cintiq or Wacom alternatives, there's some really good information on that. I really want to see Country Boys animation. How are you guys seeing it? I can't see it at all. Oh, you have to keyframe. Thank you. That's a great, thank you, Tom. That'd be amazing. That'd be really amazing. Let me just, I know I'm jumping all over, but I want to try this thing that, okay, let's just try this again. I'm going to put a rotation morph on this, and then I will get it to watch. I've had this problem before too. I forgot that even with my own scripts that I've done is you have to have keyframes. So let's just put this to that and that. Okay, and then I'll just move this box out of the way. Oh, nothing's happening. Is it watching for position or rotation? I just have to do this. If you, I mean, obviously you'll have some tips on how to do this. Because I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'll have to check this out. Remove the spaces. Okay. Well, Tom, I'd love to. Yeah, please share your process if you're comfortable with that. That'd be amazing. I'm going to just paste this video stuff in really quick, and remove the spaces. Oh, here we go. Wow, this is looking great. A lot of depth in this. Was this hard to set up all the camera moves? Like, did you have to keyframe those manually, or did you use a script for those? Oh, sorry. I should have this full screen. Sorry, guys. Whoa, and the depth of field is crazy. That must have been a long render time. Yeah, so first year you weren't scripting or anything yet. Well, good job. That's tremendous. That's a lot of work. Holy smokes. Every time I see stuff, I'm just like, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. Thank you for sharing that. Good job. What are you doing now? Are you working on, and still working on animation now? Okay, so I have to just, I'm jumping all over a bit. I need to create one more little piece for the back finger, but I might actually just grab it from an existing, the other hand. So I have a palm, a right and a palm left. So I might just pull one from the left hand so that it looks unique. I kind of built these to be modular. And then I'll just drop it down. So I'm just pressing Control and left square bracket pushes this down. Doesn't really matter the name, but I like to try to name stuff so that at least it's clear for me that that way if I have to come back to a project like a year later, which has happened a number of times, I'm not completely lost. Or you're now a graphic designer focused on UI and UX. That's great. Motion UI and UX, that's great. That's cool. How do you like it? I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there's some pretty loud trucks going by here today. I'm sorry if that's disruptive. All right, so I have all these palm pieces. So I'm just coloring them so each one is unique so I can see them all differently. And I'm just trying to get the anchor point up at the top because I have a plan here. There is a plan. Okay, there. I know that there's some really good isolation tools and stuff like that with Duduf. I don't know if you guys have ever used it. Or Dugger, whatever it is. But I found it was a little buggy with me sometimes, especially for, I'm not doing crazy complicated stuff in this particular scene, so I wasn't really using it. Okay, there's thumb base. Great. Melvin, are you asking me about special effects, or are you asking Country Boy? Oh, thanks. Thanks, Wasib. I don't know how to say your name. Wasib? I thank you. And man, if anyone's interested in working with us, we always are taking applications, CVs. If you guys send CVs, I can't guarantee anybody work. We have tight budgets and timelines and schedules, but just keep sending your stuff. If you guys want to, we're in a place where we are looking for people. We're not looking for animators and stuff at the moment. Right now, we're largely focused on trying to find someone to help us with coding, because we're trying to build this puppeteering system. And it's kind of like an After Effects workflow in Unity. We're focusing on Unity. We might be switching over to Unreal. We're not really sure at the moment. So we've been focusing on just getting some coding stuff. And then also we've been working on a plugin that takes PSD Photoshop files and imports them into Maya, or we're trying one for Blender too, and turns them into meshes for you automatically. So we are largely focusing on coders right now, but we're always open. We refuse so many projects because we don't have enough capacity here. But managing projects does take a lot of energy, and we're still really small. So, anyways, you send your CVs in for sure. The best place to send it to is info@edfilms.net, or go to our website edfilms.net, and you can just send it through there. And then our Cheetah and Emily and I always review stuff that comes in. Motion. So you're looking at Character Animator. Character Animator looks really good. Have any of you guys actually used Character Animator? I have not used it yet. I've been really, I've been putting it off, even though I want to use it. I just haven't gotten into it yet. but not for lack of. I think it looks like a very powerful, interesting tool. So I just copied and pasted the camera. I didn't have to, but it's just I want the same lens angle, but it's 3960. So basically, let's just do it again from scratch. I can go layer, new camera. I'm putting a camera so I can make it 3D. Those are the settings. Okay. And then I just have to make all these layers 3D. I kind of did this in a clumsy way. I'm trying to get better at streaming and doing things at the same time. Oh, you don't get keyframes in Character Animator? I heard that you can bring all the... Somebody was telling me you can actually bring the scripts in. Like you can actually import like the eye scripts and stuff like that, or the keyframes that you do get from Character Animator, and you can import them straight into After Effects. Somebody told me yesterday that if you want to... If you're keyframing something, use these. But if you're positioning something, use orientation. So I don't know if that's helpful to anybody, but I wasn't aware of that. Okay, so we're gonna take the thumb and we're gonna pull it off. The thumb will be out at -10, and the palm, we'll put the palm at 0. This first one. The next one we'll put at 10, and the last one we'll put at 20. And we're going to angle all of them out a little bit. Going to create this like fanned out claw thing. And we'll have to adjust them a little bit. Essentially, I'm trying to create the volume of a hand so that we can do that. It doesn't offer the same control. That's good to know. And yes, Melvin, I do special effects. I come from a background of film editing and doing compositing and some visual effects. I never worked in a big visual effects studio though, like Rodeo FX or anything like that. So I don't have that level of experience in it. But part of everything we do involves a certain level of visual effects, and that's sort of the point. And I think it's very valuable to have strong visual effects in animation, because you can really, at least I tend to do a lot of photographic looking stuff. If you're not doing photographic looking stuff, the VFX side isn't as important. Okay, so you're saying it imports a video file, dynamic link, but not editable. Okay, interesting. I'd love to see, if anyone has any links to it, I'd love to see it. Oh, is this it here? Oh, no. Oh, wait. If you go to Instagram's homepage. So you have an Instagram page. Okay. I want to check that out, too, because I'm really curious about it. Wasib, I don't know if I'm saying your name right. Wasib, I'm from Alberta, Canada, originally. Right now I live in Montreal. We have a studio in Montreal, but I'm originally from Alberta, which is the western side of Canada. So I'm just checking this. I'm just going to grab your thing here. Bop, bop, bop. Why would it put a double dash? Is it this guy right here? Cool, it actually works though. So you were mostly focusing on tilt, right? That's really cool. I like the design of your character. Did you design the characters? Nice work. All right, so I'm just going to grab a little solid here. I've got so many of them that I'm just not making new ones. I mean, you can make infinite number of solids. Who cares? It really doesn't matter. But I'm just grabbing them from here. And I believe this composition is 600 by 600, so I'm just going to put it in the middle. And then let's go to camera. Just put it up at the top. There. Okay, and I might actually just move this whole hand up once I get it all. So I just have to parent these guys. So Colin Harvey made a really cool parenting script. Yeah, you did a good job. I really like it. I love the design of the character too. This script, if you just press Control T, you can use it to find anything you're looking for and parent it to it, which is great. It also does bones. It'll auto parent bones, similar to what Duik does, but instead of creating bones, it'll just parent puppet pins to objects or whatever you need to, and keep their offset. So it's really great. This will be bone wrist, right? So we just use that, and then I just want to keep an eye on what I called it wrist driver, so we'll just call it wrist driver here too. Wasib, okay. Is that right? Wasib? Or is it Wasib? Wasib? I'm sorry, man. Terrible at pronouncing people's. It's really hard to tell. I mean, I think it's definitely one of the flaws of the internet. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do next is just take all these parented layers and they're going to counter rotate to their parent. So all I really want to say is take the parent dot rotation. I want to take value minus parent dot rotation, and that'll just zero it out. It's not a smart script or really anything. Oh wait, we want to take dot rotation. We want, I think we want 1. Or actually, it should be Y. I can't remember what the syntax is for Y rotation. Let me just do this really quick. Oh, it's Y rotation. So you don't have to have this comp layer, driver, blah, blah, blah. You can just have parent because it's parented to it. It's looking for its parent. Nice thing about this is if you change something, it won't break it. I might not have done the exact same thing on this one, but it should be the same. Yeah, I just did it. I didn't do it properly, but this is a cleaner way. So basically, it'll just watch for the rotation of this wrist and realign the layer so it always faces towards the camera. This allows you to rotate the hand without the layers, without losing the volume of the layer. Oh, you made a custom plugin. What does it do? Okay, I'm just going to grab this and take a look. Delete the spaces. It's interesting how YouTube disrupts the links by putting spaces in them. Oh, cool. That's a nice little tool. That's something I always have to just program manually every time. That's a nice little thing to have. Cool. And you get to pimp your website too. Can I look at your show reel on the stream? Is that appropriate or is that unacceptable? Oh, hi. Is it Iru? Iru? I don't know how to, welcome to the stream. Thanks for coming to hang out. I'm just going to buzz through this a little bit because, whoa, I just probably skipped a cool thing. Wasib, where are you from? Where are you located? I had a friend that was working on the Tinkerbell stuff, but editing. He was an editor for one of them. So you were in there. I like how you got your name in there. That's funny. Cool stuff. What are you using for your 3D stuff? Oh, your Houdini and Cinema 4D. Hey, what do you think of Houdini? Oh, that guy's cute. I love the design of that guy. Oh, your work is really slick. That's brutal. Is that stuff hard to do? Oh, you're in India, Mumbai. Okay. Okay. So, how do you say your name? Is it Iru or Iru? You're a rookie Houdini artist. I really wanted to get into Houdini. I'm really curious about it. I'm really, really curious about it. I'm super into the idea of it because it's there's so many things that remind me of After Effects and the ability to code things procedurally. I'm just copying and pasting this code. You don't have to do it this way. Actually, I keep forgetting you can just go like this. If you've ever done this before, you can go edit and you can go copy expression only. And then you can literally select your thing. I believe you can just paste the expression. Or I think I just go Control V. Yeah, and it just pastes the expression. But once I'm in a groove, it's not a whole lot faster. So you can see this is how the main structure, the idea of the hand works. You get intersections, but that's not the point. The point is that you can flip the hand around. So you can have a hand that's facing this way and a hand that's facing this way. And you can have an underside of a hand and then a top side of the hand. We just have to space things out a little more because right now they're a little compacted. So it's not quite, we're not getting quite very much volume out of it before it starts sliding into itself. So we'll probably space these pieces apart a little bit more. Okay. Hey, Motion Fountain, welcome to the stream. Sorry, I missed a couple of your. Okay, so Wasib, you were using After Effects and Element 3D. The stuff looked really, really. How did you build your stuff though, or did you import them from someone that made you a 3D asset? And Iru, you're using, if I'm saying your name right, Iru, use third-party programs, but you're not for artistic modeling. Okay, I get it. Got you. Motion Fountain, thanks for the shout out, man. I really appreciate. Thank you for your loving the work. I don't know. I never know how to answer that stuff. Always makes me feel weird, but thank you. Welcome to the stream. If you have any questions or anything, like let us know. Everyone's here just sort of hanging out. This is working a little better, so you can see I can get the top side of the hand now. I just spaced them out a bit further, and the bottom side of the hand. One of the things I put in the last hand was when you started rotating the hand a lot, it flipped. So because the thumb, you need to like clench your fingers, right? So if the thumb has to flip, like the fingers have to flip when we flip the whole hand over. I don't know if that makes sense, but what happens is when you have the hands like this, you can see in this one, that would be the equivalent of, I guess, it'd be like the inside. You're looking at the hand from the inside, right? And they bend up and bend here. But as soon as the hand flips far enough around, you need to actually flip the orientation of the fingers, see? So that the thumb is still bending towards the palm, if that makes sense. So I had to put a little if statement in the fingers here. And I think I just put it, where did I put it? I believe I put it in there. Was it in the orientation? No, it was. Yeah, it was right here. It was in the Y rotation. So all I did is it's basically saying that if the wrist driver is less than a certain degree, then add 180. So flip the thing. So that means that the fingers would be facing the right direction when the hand flipped all the way around. Because right now, if we flip the hand 180 degrees so that we're supposed to have the opposite direction of hand, the fingers are going to continue to bend the wrong way. So I just have to figure out what that number is right now. I'm sorry, I've ignored the stream for a little bit. Uh, Hi, welcome to the stream. Dilige. Welcome. Thanks for coming to hang out. Um, thank you for your compliment on the works and the rigging. It's my pleasure, of course. You're working for an ad. So Steve, you're working for an ad agency. Okay, so maybe I'm just going to pop into this. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop the stream at 4. Just so you guys know, I got to stop at 4. Actually, I should stop sooner because I've got to go pick up my son. So basically, what I'm doing here is I need to look. I'm going to grab right here. Instead of having this complicated thing here, I'm just going to say like if the parent. That's all I wanted there. So if parent Y rotation is less than negative 100 value plus 180. So eventually, once I link this up properly, it's going to, this is the wrong value, of course, but we're going to know when we have to flip the hand, which essentially will be, I'm just going to take a look. That's all good, and that's all good. So when we go to the flip, it would be here. And that's at about 120. And then that's all the way 120 all the way until it starts coming back again, which would be there, which is 300. So we'll 120 to 300. So this will be, because it's the other going the other direction, is greater than 120. So that should work, hopefully. Looks like our thumb. Oh, the thumb's a little different, actually. We need to work on the thumb. That's different. We're going to delete that out of the thumb. It works for the palms, but it doesn't actually work for the thumb. The thumb is a bit of a different deal. Okay. And I think we might be getting a double transform here. You might have to do minus 180. Nope. If parent transform rotation is greater than 120. Oh, right. What did I do here? I gotta unwrap this a little bit. Oh, I see what I did. Okay. I put this in the wrong place. So we're gonna take this one. Okay, I messed this all up, and you guys have been watching me mess all this up. Quick question. Which will be the best to send you link to your film? Is there a particular email? Probably the everyone dies films at gmail.com. It's one associated with this website. Is probably the best. Sometimes it throws it in as spam, but I will try to keep an eye on it and make sure that doesn't happen. No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's actually, I want you guys to know that the stream and everything is really as much for you as for me. So it's totally fine if you guys chat with each other about things. I would encourage it. Okay, so I just realized I kind of did everything a little bit backwards in that I should be applying the reorientation onto the orientation layer, not onto the Y rotation. The Y rotation is for my flipping. The orientation is for exactly what we did, but we need to do it on the orientation right here. So this thing that we're watching, the wrist driver, which can just be our parent dot Y rotation. So I know that's probably confusing, but just think of this more as the concept. What is the script there? I think I'm forgetting something. Maybe we can't do it with parent Y rotation. We need to do it like this. Okay, we can't use the parent dot Y rotation. I don't think it, unless I did something wrong, but I think, no, you can't use it. Okay, that's good to know. Turn this off. Okay, so the hand should work now again. And then we want to have this code enabled on top of it. We'll put this back onto the thumb. Okay, so what basically was happening is I was trying to apply two different sets of codes to things. Whoops. Kind of a mess right now. Sorry, this stream is way more active than I'm used to, so I definitely it's definitely a little distracting at the moment, but it's all good. It's all good. I'm gonna get used to it. Is there an ebook? You know what? I'm not aware if there is. I've definitely found that some of the best stuff has been the expression script. Oh, there is an amazing site actually. What is it called? It's called, let me just see if I can find this. Motion. Oh yeah, motionscripts.com. It's not a glamorous site. It's Dan Eberts or Dan Eberts. I don't know how to say his name. This is the place you go if you want to learn how to do scripts and understand them and copy and paste them. This is one of the most generous After Effects scripter guys in the universe. Extremely helpful. Basically, everything I've ever done has been built on what that guy has made. And it's actually pretty amazing. So really highly, highly recommend checking him out. And the nice thing about him is he really does break things down in a way that at least makes some sense. Sometimes his language is a bit pro, but it gets you started. So I'm just going to grab my if statement from here. I have an if or on the thumb, which I'll explain in a minute. This one, we have this. Just want to set this up. So I'm just copying and pasting a lot of stuff because I don't want to have to rethink it all. So I'll tell you what's happening here. Basically what this is watching for is exactly what I was saying before, is it's watching for 120. It's watching for when the hand needs to flip, and then it's adding that flip in. So here it says if it's greater than 120, flip the hand, or flip this not the thumb. Why did I do it to the thumb? I'm out of my mind today. Basically flip it. So we're going to go here. I'll do the other ones. So let's just make this one visible. Bop, bop, like that. And we'll rotate this one. Oh, well, that didn't help. These two. Okay. So once it passes 120, it should flip. So you see how it flips? And what that'll do, it doesn't look like anything right now because that hand piece is actually not associated with anything. But once it goes here, it's essentially flipping the hand because it's now gone past that point and we need the hand to rotate in the opposite direction. And you'll see that once we actually get further into it. But if you want to really watch this whole process in more of the organic way, we have it over on the Twitch stream. Okay, what else we have? Send me DM on Twitter, I think. Oh, okay, cool. So you've got some flow toots. That's great. Oh, and it's thank you, Seeker Oz. I appreciate that. It's my pleasure. I've been learning a lot from everybody equally as much. So it's cool that we live in this era where we have technology and we can do this kind of stuff. All right, so let's fix this up. This is wrong. All this stuff is bad. I kind of wrecked everything. Basically, this code here is doing exactly the same thing. It's just watching the wrist and it's subtracting the wrists. May seem a little bit weird, but what it's saying is take our current value so that way we can stack animation on there. If we didn't have this, everything would be locked. And then subtract the wrist driver's Y rotation from this Y value here. It says subtract 0, then the wrist Y value. So that's in the second thing. That's why you have the commas. And this is called a vector. It's like a 3 vector. It is X, Y, Z. We're subtracting 0 from the X. We're subtracting the Y rotation of the wrist. And then we're subtracting 0 from the Z. I hope that makes sense. So that keeps it so that the hand is constantly, the layer is constantly oriented forward. So it's not affected by the actual rotation of the layer, which is what we want. And then we have our next little piece of code, which is just a thing that we're using to flip it once the hand gets past a certain value. These variables could be filled up with, you could use sliders and stuff to make them, if you wanted it to be a little more interactive and make more sense. But there's so few elements to work with, I'm not really that worried about it. So by the time we hit here, we've crossed the threshold, the hands flip. So now we have, instead of having a hand that's like, see this, we have a top hand, a hand that would close inward like that. And then here we're looking at the flipped hand. We want sort of the pinkies are out and the hands over like this. Okay. So I got to stop in just a minute, okay? So I just want to thank everybody for coming onto this first stream. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate all the questions and the support. You guys are awesome. And I'll definitely throw you guys a schedule of when we're going to do more. So I'm going to do more on YouTube. Maybe we'll make Wednesday a day. I don't know, but most likely we'll start do Thursdays from 2 to 4 Eastern time. I think it's Eastern Central time. No, what is it? It's Eastern Daylight Time, EDT. So it'll be from 2 to 4 Eastern Daylight Time. Right now we're doing that on Twitch. But I think I will move that day so that we're doing it here on YouTube, because pretty much everyone has access to YouTube. Twitch is a little bit more involved, so for some people. So anyways, we will be doing that. Sorry to get through the whole hand. Definitely spent some time answering questions, which is really great. That's what this is there for. So next time we're on, make sure you bring your questions, anything you want to show us or go through, and we can kind of explore that out. And then if this site does well, we'll do more Q&As, we'll just schedule some more real events and start planning something out. This is my first time up here. I didn't really expect for anyone to come on, but there's been quite a few of you, and I think that's really amazing. So thank you. And thank you for all your support and your patience with us. And I'm really excited to bring more to you and bring more of the studio to you guys too, so you can start seeing some different sides of things other than just the rigging. You know, we can start talking about budgeting and strategies and laying out your spreadsheets of how to communicate to other workers. And anyways, it's always been a big dream of mine to get the whole studio, people from different parts of our work coming in here to talk to you guys. So thank you. I'm going to pop off and I'll talk to you guys. I'll be back on later, definitely in a week, and I'll try to post about it. I don't know how this interface works, how you can post so that people know about it, but I'll pop on with a schedule really quick. We'll go into hyperdrive mode and get a schedule sorted out for YouTube. So thank you very much.